Good morning, children. I hope you had a nice holiday. Okay, now let's get back to studies. Okay, I'm going to do chapter 8, Materials and Solutions, page number 88. Okay, I had already sent you the pictures of the chapter for those of you who do not have the book. Okay, and I also sent you, I think, 2 videos. Please watch that. Okay, now in this chapter, we will study about the change of state, how it is interchangeable or how it is interchanged. Okay, and then we will also study about the solute, solvent, solution, how to prepare a solution. Okay, what is the solute, what is the solvent, and how to separate the insoluble substances. Okay, that is what we are going to study today. So, if you go to your book, page number 88, okay, you have a warm-up exercise here. Okay, you have to collect chalk, flour, refined oil, wax, and cement. So I think this is a very simple experiment. You can do it. The experiments that are here are very simple. You can try it at home, but please don't burn yourself, or please don't hurt yourself by doing it. You don't. I think you don't have to use the gas and all. Okay, just do the simple ones. Now take chalk for example. Chalk. If you don't have chalk, just take sand or any mud or something. Okay, and then what state is that? You have to write, and whether soluble or insoluble in water. I hope you know what is soluble, which dissolves. Insoluble, it does not dissolve in water. Okay, you can try doing this. Okay, and you can just send me a picture or of whatever you've written here. Okay, this is just for you to understand. It will help you better whether it is soluble, whether it is insoluble in water or not. Okay, as we did in the previous chapter, also we studied about matter. Now, what is matter? Any substance that has mass and occupies space is called matter. Okay, so matter is made up of tiny particles called molecules. Okay, as I told, matter can change its form or they are interchangeable. Okay, that I'm going to explain here. The state of a change of matter occurs on heating or on cooling. We see it will change, right? I think in the previous class we studied about solid, liquid, gas. Now it can also be changed. Okay, so that is what this diagram is all about. Okay, so it can be changed on heating or cooling. So on heating, the particles of matter start moving faster, and on cooling, they slow down their movement. So this experiment or this drawing will tell you water can change its form and can exist in 3 states of matter. We started in the previous class also, okay? And most important thing, children, before you start any chapter, you need to read the chapter thoroughly. Okay, when I say thoroughly, you have to read in detail. So if you have any doubts, then you can ask me, alright? So this is there in your book also. You can just follow your book. Okay, page number 89. Now, we know ice, we know water, we know gas, water vapor. Okay, so ice is solid, water is liquid, steam is gas or water vapor, right? So, now this ice, okay, now when I put it outside, I will see the water will start to spill or water will come out. So, on heating, it will change to water. Now, the same water, when I put on the stove and when I boil it, okay, when I light on the gas and when I try to boil it, water vapor or steam will come out. So, what has happened? It has changed from solid, it has changed to liquid, from liquid, it has changed to gas. How has it changed? On heating. Okay, so now that steam, again we can collect the steam, okay, and leave it for some time, right? So that will be water, liquid, okay. Then again on freezing, when I put this water in the freezer, I will again get ice. So this shows that it changes from one state to another, interchangeable. Water can change its form and exist in all 3 forms. These are all states of matter, right? And water again on heating, it will change to, ice on heating, if you just put it outside, little heat is there, it will become water. Again, when you put the water on the stove, your vapor will come out, right? So, gas state. Now again, if I collect the water vapor and leave it for some time, or if I collect in a glass, that will be liquid, okay? water. Again, now when I put it in the freezer, again on cooling, it will become ice. Okay, so this is the very simple way to show you. Okay, now what do you understand by melting? Melting is ice changes into liquid on heating. Okay, ice changes into liquid on heating. That is called melting. Okay, now what is evaporation? Again, liquid changes into gas or water vapor on heating. So this is evaporation. Okay, this we've done in class 3 also. So that's why I'm doing it like this. Okay, now again condensation. Okay, remember your do and all that we started in class 3. Okay, so condensation is gas or water vapor changes into liquid on cooling. So when it cools, this is called condensation. Alright, then what is freezing or solidification? Another word for it. So water, the process of changing a liquid or water changes into solid or ice on cooling. So this is called freezing or solidification. Okay, this is very simple. That is what is there in the book in page number 89 also. Okay, the process by which a solid or ice changes into liquid or water on heating is called melting. Okay, for example, a bar of chocolate. Just take out the chocolate from the wrapper and leave it outside in the sun. What will happen? It will start to melt. Even butter will start to melt. Okay, freezing. Freezing is a process in which a liquid or water changes into ice on cooling. Your formation of glaciers, hardening of melted wax or candle wax, and freezing of water to form ice in an ice cube tray are examples of freezing or solidification. Okay. Now, evaporation is the process by which a liquid or water changes into a gas or water vapor on heating is called evaporation. So, evaporation becomes faster on heating, and evaporation is more on a sunny day than on a rainy or a cloudy day. Okay, and condensation is the process by which a gas or water vapor changes into a liquid on cooling is called condensation. Dew, hail, snow, fog, there are different forms of water and they are formed by cooling of water vapor. When you go out, it's pretty cold now, right? So when you go out early in the morning, you can see droplets of water on the leaf. That is your dew, okay, and that is because of condensation. Okay, I hope you understood this. Just look at the diagram, okay, you will be able to understand. Now, there is an activity or an experiment. You can try this at home, very simple. All you need is ice cubes, some ice cubes and glass. Or you can just, I think some of us buy these, or we keep bottles of water in the fridge, no? So just take it out, leave it outside for some time. What do you see? You see droplets of water on it, okay? So that shows the process of condensation, okay? Then effect of heating on particles in solids, liquids and gases. Heating or cooling affects the movement of particles in solids, liquids and gases. So when heated, the particles in a matter start moving faster. When cooled, the particles in the matter slow down their movement. I think I have sent you a video to show you this. Just have a look, you will understand. Okay. Now next important thing, solute, solvent and solution. Solute, solvent and solution. Okay. Now, okay, I have, I don't know whether you can see or not, okay, I have salt here, okay, I have salt here, then I have a glass of water here, okay, I put the salt and then I will stir it, okay, what happens here now? The salt is dissolved in the water, okay, so the solid that gets dissolved in a liquid is called a solute. So, what is a solute here now? Salt. Okay. Now, what is a solvent? The liquid or water. Okay. Now, what is a solution? I get this pure water, right? When I mix salt and water, so this is a solution. Okay, so the liquid in which the solute gets dissolved is a solvent. together, what will I get? I will get a solution, or I will get salty water. I get salty water, right? Salty water or solution. Okay. Now, water is called a universal solvent because most of the substances easily dissolve in it. Okay. So, if I put juice in water, it will get dissolved. If I put milk in water, it will get dissolved, right? So, that is why it is called a universal solvent. I hope you understood this. So, instead of salt, I can put sugar also, right? Sugar will become my solute, solvent, again water, liquid, right? Then when I mix, I get sugary water, right? Or solution. Same thing. Okay. So now there are some substances that completely dissolve in a liquid to form a solution. These are called soluble substances. Like I showed you now, salt. It gets dissolved, right? So this is called soluble substances. Soluble substances. Okay, because it gets dissolved. Okay, example, salt and sugar. Now gases like oxygen and carbon dioxide are soluble in water. Okay, so when two liquids completely dissolve in each other, they are called miscible liquids. These are new words, so that's why I'm writing it here separately. Okay. Now, as I told you, milk, when I put in water, it will get dissolved. So, it is an example of miscible liquids. Alright. So, substances that do not dissolve in a liquid are called insoluble substances. Chalk, wood, sand, mud are insoluble substances that do not dissolve in water. Gases like hydrogen, nitrogen, and helium are insoluble in water. Okay. So, I'll just take this same glass. Okay, I just have the same glass and I have mud here. Okay, I don't know whether you can see or not. I have some mud here. So I'll try to put this in the water and again stir it. Do you get clear water? No, right? Because it is not dissolved. Okay. So these are called insoluble substances. Insoluble substances because it does not get dissolved. Okay, soluble substances it gets dissolved. Insoluble substances it does not get dissolved. Okay, now two liquids that do not completely dissolve in each other when mixed together are called immiscible liquids. So two liquids which can dissolve, okay, miscible, which cannot dissolve, immiscible liquids. Okay, for example, I take oil, any oil, your coconut oil, mustard oil, olive oil, any oil, and I put it in water, I stir it. What do you think will happen? Okay, you can try doing that also. We have the experiment to show us. It will not get dissolved. So that is called immiscible. These are called immiscible liquids. Okay. Now, when two immiscible liquids are mixed together, they form separate layers. The lighter liquid floats on top of the other liquid. As I told you, you can try this at home. Okay, suppose this is your glass, okay, and this is your this part is water, okay, and then I put oil. What will happen when I stir it? It will not get dissolved. Okay, so the lighter liquid floats on top. So whichever is the lighter liquid, it will be here. Okay, the heavier one will be here. Alright, so. For example, when oil is mixed in water, oil being lighter than water floats on the water surface. So, which is lighter? Oil is lighter. So, oil will be up. Okay. Now, pause and do. You have certain questions here. Just try to do this. This is to show whether you've understood or not. You can do it and then you can send me the answers also. Okay. Turn your page. This is your experiment or activity. This is also a very simple one which you can try it at home. Okay. This is to observe or to see two immiscible liquids. Immiscible liquids that dissolve or not. Right. So what do you need? You need 3 tablespoons of cooking oil. It is not oil. It is oil. Oil. Okay. and 100 ml of water and a clean glass. So what will you do? You just add water in the glass. Now put the cooking oil in the glass and filled with water. Stir the two liquids mix properly like this, okay? And wait for a few minutes. So what do you see? Oil floats on water, over water, and a layer separating oil and water is visible. So what do you conclude? Or what do you understand by this? Oil and water are both invisible liquids. Okay, you can try this at home. Okay, and you can send me a picture also after you try. Separation of substances. Now, how do we? There are different methods of separating soluble and insoluble substances. Okay, some soluble substances can be separated from a liquid by the method of evaporation or heating. Remember, I explained about evaporation also. So we can collect salt from a salt solution by evaporating the solution, the solvent or water. Okay, for example, seawater has a large amount of salt dissolved in it. The sun is the source of heat that aids in the evaporation of seawater, leaving salt behind. So the salt that we use, okay, you get it in the seawater. So because of the sun's rays, okay, the water gets evaporated and it leaves the salt behind. So this is one way of separating soluble substances from a liquid, okay. Method is evaporation, and that's how you get your salt also. Now, how will I separate insoluble substances? Okay, I have sent you a video on sedimentation and decantation. You can try sedimentation and decantation at home. Okay, filtration you will not be able to try because you don't have a filter paper, but you can just try it with a tea strainer or something. Okay, but then you will not get very clear water because you need filter paper for that. Okay. So, sedimentation and decantation. In the sedimentation process, the liquid containing insoluble substances is made to stand undisturbed in a container for some time. So, the heavy insoluble solid particles settle down at the bottom of the container while the clear water gets collected above it. So, the solid insoluble particles that settle down are called sediments, and the clear water is called the supernatant. The process in which the insoluble impurities settle down is called sedimentation. Okay, this has not become completely sedimentation, but remember, just a few minutes back, I put sand and I tried to stir it, right? So if you see here, all the heavier portion has come down. All the heavier, sediment has come, that insoluble particles has settled here down. Okay, so the clear water, this water is called the supernatant. Okay, and this process is called sedimentation. Okay, so it's there in the book also in page number 93. You can try this at home. Okay, the clear water above the sediments is carefully poured into another container without disturbing the settled particles. So if I have another container, then I can just slightly tilt it and then pour it. Okay, as it's shown in the picture. So this process of gently pouring out water after sedimentation is called decantation. Okay, I hope you've understood this. Right, I put insoluble mud in this. When I stirred it, it was all there. It is not dissolved. Right, this is to separate insoluble substances. Okay, so this, whatever you see down, these are called the sediments. The water that you see is the supernatant. Okay, and this process is called sedimentation. Now, if I pour this water only in another glass, then that is called decantation. Okay, this you can try it at home. Okay, now you have another process called filtration with the same water. Okay, with the same water, just the water. It is a process of removing insoluble substances from a liquid using a filter paper or a muslin cloth. Okay, filter paper, as I told you, we don't have, so we will not be able to do filtration at home. Okay, the sandy water is poured over the moistened filter paper placed inside a funnel, and the liquid passes through the filter paper. Insoluble substances like sand remain on the filter paper. So it's normally like this. So you would just make a cone shape like this and then put it and then pour the water. So all the insoluble impurities will be stuck on the filter paper. Okay, I've sent you a video also, so please watch that video. Because the size of a sand grain is bigger than the holes on the filter paper. That is why the sand gets stuck on the filter paper. Okay, you have to read the summary and the glossary, as I keep telling you, because it is very important. All the important points are here. Okay, so I hope you've understood the chapter. Okay, I will be giving you your question answers and spellings and all tomorrow. Okay, so if you have any doubts, please ask me. Okay, thank you and have a nice day.